Hi, I'm Devon, and I'm in the BA test kitchen to have a super secret conversation about Chris Morocco. Once again, we're putting Chris's super taster abilities to the test. This is Guy Fieri's Brick Burger. I'm challenging Chris to recreate this dish with all of the ingredients in just one day. He'll be able to taste it, touch it, and smell it, but at no point will he be able to see this dish. At the end of the day, we'll come back to see his final creation, and I'll be the judge.
The goggles kind of smell a bit funny. Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you, whoever you are. The more I say now, the stupider I look when it's nothing like what I say. It smelled a bit like a Big Mac. I'm feeling something like very crunchy here. It literally feels like you've molded styrofoam into something. Oh my God. This feels just crazy. Crackling, rippling texture.
I wouldn't put it in your mouth.
Okay. It's so textural on top. It almost could be a pretzel bun. I have no idea what that was. Like a slice of slightly sweet city ham. Sort of tastes like standard quality Swiss cheese, but why is it all like tangly and ropey like this? So now I'm getting a grilled beef patty. Then this might be our friend, the pickle, giving us that pickle vibe. I thought I detected like sauerkraut, but now I'm like, did I? Now it's kind of giving me onion. So what this feels like to me is some kind of layered and stacked burger. If the layers of the sliced meat are ham, then it's like, oh, this is a Cubano. So there's this indentation, almost as though this was like griddled on like a grill pan or something. But I feel like we need to think about ways in which we could press this sandwich maybe onto a grill pan. The sauce is deviling me. It tastes vaguely reminiscent of a special sauce, maybe, but there's nothing like crazy obvious. I'm not getting like ketchup from it. Like I'm getting more like mayo. Not sure about the chef. Working title for the minute is Cubano burger. All right, I'm making a list. We need a bun. It needs to be something with like a little bit of crust to it, but pretty airy. Let's get mayo, let's get ketchup. No other kind of pickly element in that sauce, but like nothing in the sauce, like literally nothing. Just knowing what I know about this show, like that also feels kind of wrong. I mean, if I can have like a little like dish of sauce, like right here, you know, I'll put the blindfold on, like whatever. Other things, we need city ham. How confident do I feel about the Swiss cheese? For the beef, I mean, I don't know. Let's assume it's like some kind of 20% ground chuck, pickles, onion, and then we need some foil, grill press. Somebody's gonna go out, shop for these ingredients, and then I will have my first shot at the dish. So, buns, these things, welcome to Squish City. This one is like a sourdough bun. I'm not sure about that at all. Whereas this one, this is what I'm talking about. Very light on the inside, and yet. So we're gonna do the first pass with white onion. I just feel like it's pretty mild usually. Now I'm doing some rounds of kosher dill pickle. Call me crazy. I swear, like this is what it seemed like had happened on the burger. This was like the image in like the mental map of my mind. These big kind of chunky shreds, some of which then like spilled over, kind of melted against the griddle. I'm using approximately 6 ounces of 20% ground chuck here. 20 to 25% fat is sort of the sweet spot. So now we just need to stir together some sauce. Do we just go with mayo right now? Let's get a little ketchup in there. Maybe that's gonna help give us like, you know, what we're looking for in terms of this feeling like it could plausibly smell like a Big Mac if you were blindfolded. Where's my press? Ah, okay. Just adding some salt on both sides of the burger, and then on we go. I don't believe I'm gonna use the press until we've assembled the burger. and it's in the foil. I'm gonna do a little bit of black pepper, some of this like cheese action on it. I don't know, that seems wrong, but here we are. We still have like another minute or two, I'd say, before we even reach medium rare. I just didn't want to put the cheese on too early and then have like too much of it start to like burn and get weird. Just give it like, 30 seconds and then pull it off. I don't know, that looks like absolute mess to me, but the heart tastes what the heart tastes. So I'm building it up with special sauce on both sides. I've got kosher dill pickle, thinly sliced raw white onion, the burger patty itself. Now for ham, like that. All right, so I'm just trying to create a little seam here so nothing comes out. If you did it with parchment, you need a little bit more of like low-key heat, more of like a panini press. But foil for like higher heat kind of situation, I think is the way to go. That's how we're rolling. That felt a little bit anticlimactic. And I'm really trying to flatten it, like press it like pretty insistently. The juices run onto the bun and then kind of pool, or at least like that's the hope. It's firmed up appreciably. Oh yeah, we got a little toasty there. I think safe to say like we need less time, less heat. Noted for the next time. Ingredients, this is one of those dishes you could be plus or minus easily 10 things. So ingredient-wise, I'm gonna go with a 70. I mean, technique-wise, I could be missing something, but that feels pretty appropriate to the original dish, so maybe let's go with 80. Appearance, taking the burn factor out of there, 85. I'm getting a lot of burnt bread. Taste-wise, just because of the burning, I'm gonna have to give this a 65. It's just not right, and that's a bummer. I'm a little bit perplexed that, frankly, it burned quite so badly, quite so quickly, but I also think the griddle was pretty hot at that point. So I think we're gonna go with a much cooler back part of the griddle for the next round. All right, so I've given myself a 75. Let's see where I'm actually at. Ooh. Ingredient actual is 57. That is not good. Technique, 77. Appearance, 88, which is pretty spot on. Taste, that feels appropriate, and I'm hoping that whoever scored this is responding to the burn factor. So a total of 71. I don't know, this is one of those classic, you better hope the second tasting gives you what you need in terms of figuring out what direction to go in, because ouch, that hurts. All right, so we've got a slightly offset stack. I'm not getting as much of it's this sort of chopped up batons of cheese. I feel like it is more of a flat layer. It just feels so crazy and ragged around that outer edge. It's almost like the pickle was sliced in a sort of transverse way instead of into rounds, down lengthwise. Who cuts a pickle like this? I guess we can do this on a mandolin. Big f***ing whoop, Is that where my 23 technique points are gonna come from though? I don't know. That's giving me roasted red pepper. At one point, it did taste like I might have gotten a little bit of pickle relish or something that could have been in with the sauce. I don't know that I'd place this in the Cubano world, but something like a roasted pepper with or some other kind of prepared but mild chili, but maybe it wasn't fresh, right? So then you're in the kind of world of roasted red pepper or roasted mild kind of pimento type pepper. Yeah, I feel really stuck when it comes to this sort of saucy element on the bread. It feels like the flavor's just not coming through in a super distinct way. Would you make your own mayo from scratch? If you were gonna make your own mayo, why wouldn't you punch it up with some raw garlic? I don't really taste garlic in this. I mean, unless I'm like completely tripping. Give me a bowl of the sauce. Ooh, that felt good. It's a very small bowl. Huh. What's wild to me is how fucking garlicky this is. Where it's not nearly at the level of like pimento cheese, but like some kind of like red pepper, something, melty cheese. It's starting to take me there. So like confit garlic, like, I don't know. I can't quite tell you, but like if I were to try to reproduce this flavor, that's probably what I would do. I need garlic, roasted red pepper, sweet pimento, or just regular. I have a list of ingredients that are kind of wishes, unclear that these things are actually in-house, and then I will have my final shot at the dish. Just looking for any possible clue, okay? These are cold. Why? Where did they come from? These are not cold. Why? Where did they come from? You know? Let's taste some buns. I'm feeling a little bit better about this one, this Italian roll. I feel like the sourdough, it's not really doing all that much for me. Also, this is just bringing a certain kind of squishiness into play. It became apparent that the pickles seemingly had been sliced thinly this way, but when it comes to like long slices, it's a lot harder to do it by hand and do it evenly, like a lot harder. So roasted red pepper. I don't think the pepper is doing anything significant in this dish. This is the already diced pimento, which I feel like it's like kind of incumbent on me to at least like taste. It's here. They basically taste exactly the same. I cannot express how little I tasted garlic on the burger and how much I tasted garlic in the sauce. It is possible to achieve the garlic I'm looking for by roasting. However, roasted garlic can end up being almost like tacky.
What are you using there?
I'm using all of the olive oil. When you poach garlic in oil, you can keep that heat super gentle. You can bring out a lot of that sweetness and it can stay like kind of soft. So the garlic is still like kind of textural but tender. What I'm going to do is grab some ice, just cool this down kind of quickly. The only thing that made any potential sense is that we were gonna cool down this oil, chop up the garlic, make our own aioli, and we were gonna skip off happily into the sunset. In terms of like what it's doing for me, we're not far off, and I feel pretty good about that. All right, griddle is hot. Burger is seasoned, going on. Also need to throw on some onion. It's looking for a kind of a lo-fi way to increase sweetness of the onion. Grilling it just seemed like the right way to go. I'm putting the cheese on now, which is earlier in the process than I did for the first iteration. So we got like cloaky, drapey edges. The burger is a little less cooked. I'm gonna calm the heat down on this in the front, and this time we're gonna griddle in the back where it's cooler. I've got my garlicky aioli. Then I've got my new cut on our pickle here. Got a very modest amount roasted red pepper. Don't want too much of this onion. I'm gonna do 2 slices of ham this time rather than 3. Same foil technique. I'm going to put it on the griddle and I'm going to use the grill press to smash it.
Is there a thing you could use to not add as much weight?
The brick. Why would you have a brick? I'm gonna let that go 4 or 5 minutes, check on it, listen for any signs that it's getting too dark. By using something that's not hot, maybe we're gonna slow down the cooking process as opposed to this thing, which is like quite hot from being on the griddle. Maybe that's gonna, kind of arrest some of the tendency for this to wanna kind of burn, which we definitely don't want. Bricks off. I'm worried the whole thing is just gonna be cooked to shit in there if I keep it on there any longer. I don't know. It's a mystery. I feel good about like the execution on this version. So if I was an actual 57 when it comes to ingredients last time, gosh, I hope I've clawed my way to a 70. I changed a few things with the technique. Let me be optimistic on that one and say we got to an 85. Let's go hard with 90 for appearance. I would up the taste to 80. I'm guessing this is a Cubano burger, and I have no idea who the chef is.
Do you know what town the chef is from?
I do not know what town the chef is from. All right, so it is time to present the dish, and I'm gonna meet the guest judge. Hey, Devon.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. So do you know who the chef is and what the dish is?
I think this is a Cubano burger,
Okay.
whatever that means, and I don't know who the chef is, but Corey keeps banging on about the town, the town. And wouldn't it be just like this bunch of jerks to give me something from a chef in Philadelphia and then like be sort of mystified that I haven't picked up on the sort of notes of Schuylkill and the ode to Delaware of the final iteration of it.
Well, I'm here to help you on that journey
Okay.
to
all
the
right.
town, actually. First and foremost,
I know what town this is.
may I take you on a journey to Flavortown with Guy Fieri's Brick Burger.
Brick burger? He calls this a brick burger?
Brick Burger. Can't you tell by the... Listen, I painted this
Yeah, but
myself.
who the calls that a brick burger? Other than Guy Fieri.
The
Fair
mayor
play.
of Flavortown calls it a brick burger. If I were to put this side by side in a photo, I kind of, honestly, with just looking, I would say they're very, very similar.
Honestly, what was really tough about this was like, big picture, it felt like I had a lot of the right elements, but there's always like, you know, the devil's in the details of just like, oh, it's a dash of this and a
Yeah.
pinch of that. And it turned out I didn't even taste garlic in like the original sauce, you know? I mean, it's just like mushed in with all the other things, then pickle juice everywhere. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
before you know it, you're doing a 360 headed the wrong way, you
Right,
know, going right
right.
off the road.
Not towards Flavortown.
Not towards Flavortown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Starting from the exterior and working your way in, you guessed Italian roll, which I totally see that for you. However, it's giving sourdough.
Oh, stop.
I mean, you were very close with the roasted red peppers, but when you go to Flavortown, the right decision is more like a pimento
Really?
moment. We also have a little dash of pickled relish.
Really? I went back and forth about relish.
The onion was a raw sweet onion,
Just raw
just raw.
and sweet onion.
So two other key things that, you know, probably disintegrated in the process of smashing the burger in the first place. Thin slice of tomato.
Where? On what? I have no idea what that was. I'm like, see, this is where like my own biases as a burger eater.
Because you don't like tomato.
Because I don't want a tomato in my friggin' burger.
Oh. You're gonna find garlic in more places than maybe you thought.
Uh-huh.
So you have your garlic butter, right?
Garlic butter.
Garlic butter. You opted for a confit method.
Yeah.
Still too fancy for Flavortown.
What did he do?
Roasted garlic.
Oh, roasted. The sauce that I tasted, that was butter.
So the sauce is a donkey sauce.
Oh.
You've got your mayo, your Worcestershire. There's also
Worcestershire.
garlic puree in that as well.
Okay.
I'd finish it. Which is not
I
what
can
we're
live with
doing
that.
right now, but just,
No.
I just want you to know that I would finish it.
All right.
Okay, next one. I think it's interesting the fact that you did this blindfolded, because I actually think that because you were blindfolded, it makes you have to hone in on those parts so that when you translate it into an actual product, they're more distinct in your version. Whereas, as you're saying with the Guy Fieri version, it definitely feels like it kind of all melds together a bit more than yours
Yeah,
does.
it's a little bit more of like a jumble, not
Yeah.
necessarily in a bad way. but-
Yeah, it's like subtle hits here and there, and then There's something about like the char and the weight of the burger here where it feels like very greasy spoon vibes in the OG version.
Yeah.
Where I feel like that, like it's got that overcookedness that you find if you go to a diner or a drive-in or a dive. So I have the scores that you gave yourself.
Okay.
And I have the actual judge scores, the official scores. So let's talk about ingredients. You gave yourself a 70, and I also gave you a 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Moving on to technique. Your score was an 85.
I just felt like broad strokes, those were sort of like the key things, but it seems like I didn't quite get far enough. And I feel like the first time I got my actual scores, was that not a 78 for technique? Did I not improve?
It was 77.
So I got a pity point.
You gave yourself a 90 for appearance. And you know what? I gave you 92. Okay, so last part, tasting score, you gave yourself an 80. I'm gonna go with 82. When I tabulate all the scores together, I'm gonna give you an 80.
Squeaking by with a B minus. That is my style. I love it. I had a really good time today. Guy, you know, he's like a really cool and interesting chef. Happy to have had the experience of getting to do another one of his dishes. And I feel like, if anything, I did slightly better with this one than the last one. So I can live with that. This does not feel like something I know. Like some fucking like TikTok tempura that's like made of like, you know, like liquid metal, some kind of like Terminator 2 fucking thing, you know? Is this edible?